Today is Thursday, the 1st of December. The negotiations have most of the time gone into closed negotiations where parties are looking at text. The two issues that came out in plenary were the national adaptation plans, and there's informals going on that right now, even though it's almost midnight. And loss and damage, which is another issue that came up here. So we have text on both of them and negotiations going on. My sense is that we should get a negotiated outcome by the end of the week, but we'll have to see. So at the same time, a lot of side events are taking place here in Durban, some of them very interesting. Today I spent most of the day at the Africa Pavilion. It's the first time we've had an Africa Pavilion where they've been holding side events, and there were two side events back to back this morning and this afternoon. The first one was on the economics of adaptation, and there was a very interesting discussion. There must have been more than 100 people in the room and lots of very animated discussions. And then the second one in the afternoon was a high-level roundtable on adaptation more generally in Africa, chaired by Yoba Sokona, a very eminent African climate change expert, co-chair of Working Group 3 of the IPCC, and a number of other international speakers, including Heather McGray of WRI, Tom Downing of the UK, and Fatima Denton. And it was co-organized by the African Development Bank and the UN ECA based in Addis Ababa. A lot of very interesting discussions. This being a COP on African soil, there's a lot of representation from all over Africa at the COP in Durban, a lot of discussions going on about it, a lot of discussions particularly on adaptation, far more than there have been in previous COPs. So the adaptation agenda, interest, activities has moved forward quite significantly. Africans in particular are moving forward quite significantly on this issue. I spoke about possibilities of South-South cooperation between Asia and Africa, giving the example of the Bangladesh case where they have a climate change strategy and action plan and several new trust funds on climate change, which is an innovation that other countries in Africa are very interested in following and learning about. So a lot of sharing and learning going on in the Durban COP, and in a way that's the best part of the COP. The negotiations are only one part of it, and sometimes they can be very opaque and very complicated. On the other hand, the other part where many thousands of people come to share what they've learned, have side events and publications, is probably the most interesting part of these COPs, and today I spent most of my time doing that. Tomorrow we're going to take a day off, but I will report back on what happened at the COP, and then on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, we have development and climate days.